Why are British people so private? Discover the hidden social rules that shape British friendships, small talk, and personal boundaries. In this lesson, you're going to learn vocabulary, culture, and the unwritten etiquette that every advanced English learner should know. Welcome to the English Right Now podcast. My name is British English teacher Roy, and joining me is my dear friend Rob. Hello.
Hello, Roy. I'm being very private.
Oh, I like it.
I don't want to make a fuss. I don't want anyone to notice.
Ooh.
So I'm just going, shh. Hi, Roy.
So, don't tell me how you are. I wouldn't like to invade your privacy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to talk about, we have this idea. A lot of students find us incredibly private. The first thing I'm going to say is technically in British English, we should pronounce the word as privacy. In American English, it's privacy, but you hear a lot of British people say privacy anyway, don't you?
Yes.
Are you quite private?
Oh, I think I am. Yes. I don't like to show off and tell people how amazing I am. Not that I am, but and also, in my day-to-day living as well. We're at the end of a kind of row of houses. We're tucked away in the corner, and I quite like that because I don't want people to see all our business, our comings and goings, that sort of thing. So yes, definitely like a bit of privacy.
Nice. I think in general we are quite reserved. Reserved is where we kind of control ourselves, control our emotions, control our, stop telling people too many things and all these sort of things. We're quite slow. I mean, let's talk about friendships first. Friendship, it's quite a slow process, I find, in the UK.
Yeah. Yes, we don't give away too much information, which means that it doesn't really open any doors, does it, to developing a friendship? As you say, we're quite reserved. We're standoffish. You know that expression, we're standoffish? It feels, certainly to a stranger, that we're being actually quite rude. But I guess it's because we're not someone people to brag, is it, or show off?
Yeah, we're quite subdued in that kind of language. I think bragging is seen. So bragging is when you overly self-promote, like, "Oh, I'm amazing at this." Oh, I know, and I think that's seen as quite crude and rude behavior in the UK in general. People don't admire too much self-confidence. Now, you should be self-confident. There is a line though between, "Yeah, no, I can do that," and "No, I'm amazing." There's a line. And I think this is a good topic that we could discuss about interviews, because often people from around the world will go into British interviews and they'll feel like they need to really promote themselves. And sometimes that can be detrimental. But in general, friendships can be quite slow. And I think they start off with small talk. They all start off with small talk.
Absolutely. Sort of inane chat. Small, talking about sort of irrelevant things, really. Talk about the weather, couldn't you? Your journey to the pub, that sort of thing. But we don't give away much personal information, do we? As you say, like we're saying, we're very private. I don't know what it is, why we're like that. But we just don't like to show off and give too much away.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the cultural history and where it comes from, but at the end of the day, we need to establish for learners out there, this is what we're like now. It doesn't matter where it's come from, really. But effectively, when you meet a British person, we start off with small talk, chats about the weather. Oh, have you seen that latest TV show? And certain things that seem a bit irrelevant, as you say, but they're not. It's kind of feeling the other person, feeling the situation, working them out, and it's like testing the waters to see if you're cool. So if I can talk to you about light stuff, then we can build. And maybe then we start introducing a few jokes, a little bit of banter, and I can test the waters to see if you respond. And if you don't get my jokes, I think that's it. It's over.
Well, yes, that's not hard, is it? But I think, but as you say, it takes a long time. There's lots of this small talk, and bit by bit, you can build up a picture of the other person. But you certainly mustn't be too intrusive. You mustn't go in there and say, "So, tell me how you're feeling, or how much do you earn?" Or
Yeah, there's certain Yeah. Don't get So intrusive is a really good word. It's where we kind of invade that person's life, really, and
Mm,
imposing on people, isn't it, as well?
yeah.
Um, yeah, you were making me laugh then. I couldn't think of anything worse. So yeah, we start off with a bit of small talk, but I I mean, another thing as well. I think British friendships. Oh, this is a bad kind of, it's a joke, but it's like a fine wine. It takes a few years to, I don't know, mature. Cheese, I don't know. We're like cheese. We take time,
Yeah.
and but when you're in, and
Mm.
that's the sort of thing. So it's like I would say, people always remark on our banter, our kind of chemistry, if you like. It sounds like I'm about to propose, Rob. Um, but I'm already married, so you're okay. You're
Oh,
safe.
okay. Thank you.
But yeah, no, you can dream. But they often remark on that, but it's not something that can be really forced. I mean, I'm sure some people can, actors, but in general, you can't fake chemistry. It has to build over time. We've been friends for too long. We've been friends for a lot of while, a long time, and that
Yeah, so
has built over time.
I say you've got to know each other, but I think there are still boundaries, aren't there? You know, there's
Very good
still
word.
there's still a sort of a level we don't go beyond. Things I don't ask you about. There is a
Yeah,
boundary.
yeah. And I've known you long enough to think that, to be honest, there's no boundaries that a boundary is a kind of a limit, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
and I think everybody should have boundaries to a certain
yeah,
extent. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't impose on me, and you don't intrude in my life in certain ways. And there are some things I'd never ask. Well, yeah, I'm starting to think of some topics that I would never ask you now. So, but
don't ask.
I would never, if you ask me, "Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? Is everything okay?" You asked me before we made this podcast episode, "How's the baby? How's my wife?" And I would say, if somebody I just met, so, "Oh, how's the baby? How's it getting on? Oh, is it all right? Everything all right?" I'd find it a bit intense,
Mm,
maybe. So there are levels, but yeah, you're right. Everybody needs boundaries, and I think a rare quality is the ability to be able to say no, and for other people to accept a no as
mm,
well.
mm.
That's the thing. But you should respect boundaries, the limits. What
Yes, I mean,
what
in that I was
happened?
gonna say, in that situation, again, being very British, we're quite polite about that. So if you ask me something a bit too personal, I might go, "Well, Roy, would you mind if I didn't discuss that?" Or, "It's
Yeah,
not really something I want to talk about." Sorry. Again, we say sorry, don't we? Sorry, Roy, but I don't want to answer that
yeah.
question.
And I wouldn't be offended at that because I'd realized that I pushed your boundaries. Maybe I'd gone too far,
Yes, you've
and you would
overstepped the mark.
nicely,
We
very,
sometimes
very
you
nice,
overstep the mark. Yes, yeah.
overstep. And when you go too far, you overstep. And then, you've gently pushed back. If I continued, that would be rude.
Hmm.
That would be me being rude. So nobody's been rude at that point. Nobody's, mistakes happen. If I say something like, "Oh, if somebody comes across from another country, how much do you earn?" I wouldn't like it. It would be considered rude in British culture, but at the same time, I wouldn't be rude back. I'd gently sort of say, "Oh, I don't really talk about those sort of things."
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they continued to push, that would be rude.
Yes, and we'd
So,
feel uncomfortable, wouldn't we? That awful
yeah,
uncomfortable feeling about what is this guy going to ask me next?
yeah. So what sort of things are you private about? That's an ironic question, isn't it? What are you private about?
Tell you everything.
What
Spill
what
the
sort of
beans.
subjects do you not discuss? General. I personally,
Hmm.
religion, um,
Health.
intimate details, health. Yeah, I mean,
I
to a
mean,
certain extent,
yes, if you feel a bit rough, you've got a cold, that's fine.
yeah.
But if you have particularly
Underlying health
health
conditions,
problems, or something like
serious
that,
health problems.
yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
probably keep that to yourself, or maybe with your wife or your partner. But I don't
yeah.
think you tell the world.
No, until you're ready. Until
Hmm.
until you're either ready or it becomes too obvious that you can't avoid. Quite often, you hear celebrities, British celebrities, and it's horrible when it happens, but announcing a cancer diagnosis or something like this, and it's usually when other people are going to expose them. I'm thinking of sort of the royal family. I imagine they weren't too keen to reveal these sort of things, but it was inevitable that somebody would say something potentially.
Yeah.
and we should respect as well. We should respect I respect their privacy, and I was sad to hear it, and I wish them the best, but I'm not then gonna Google it and have a look. Ooh. It's there. But I think in general, serious health conditions, unless it's unavoidable. Like if I've got a health condition that I need to make you aware of,
Yeah.
or something obvious is happening at a party, and I say, look, I need to be honest. If I don't know, showing symptoms, health, religion, intimate details of my relationship. Now I'll talk to you about even you. I've known you for years. It
But
sounds awful, but the ins and outs.
I know where you're going with this. Yes, you're not going to.
You don't talk about what happens in the bedroom. It's private.
No,
it's
no.
personal.
Apart from, I can tell you what happened in the bedroom. I made the bed.
Oh, well done.
Changed the sheets and
well done.
And opened the curtains. That's what happened.
That reminds me. That reminds me of an old joke. I've heard Rob is good in the bedroom because he always makes the bed.
That's me.
That old classic. But it's not just extended to personal interactions. We also need to think about neighbors. Neighbors rarely knock unexpectedly. In fact, a lot of people don't just pop round. Oh, I thought I'd say hello. It's seen as a bit, people like a bit of a warning, I think.
Yeah. Yes, generally speaking, there are some communities and neighbours where they're literally in and out of each other's houses all the time. But that's quite a rare thing, I think. Generally, people would like to ring if you're going to call, if you're going to come round and visit or something like that, rather than just turn up unexpectedly. Yeah, we like a warning.
Yeah. I mean, for example, you live in Kent, and if I'm driving past your house, then I've gone the wrong way because I need to go to the west, not the east if I'm driving to Derby, really. But anyway, if I accidentally drive to Kent and not Derby, and then I just say, I'll tell you what, I'll knock on his door. I've got his address, I'll knock on his door, and it's 2:00 in an afternoon on a Tuesday. We've been friends for a long time. You'd be like, I can already imagine the interaction. You'd be like, there'd be this, oh no, I was just driving past. I thought I'd pop in, see how you're doing, say hello. And
what a nice surprise.
What a nice surprise. But then you'd at some point very quickly say, I'm actually working at the moment. So you drop in that it's completely impractical. And it would be this awkward moment. And it would be rude of me to just impose myself upon you without respecting your boundaries, your time. Let's talk about, that's neighbors, that's friends, that's everybody really. Let's talk about when people do go a bit too far. We call it oversharing, don't we? When people tell you too many details about their life, like, oh yeah, there's always this. I call it a red flag. A red flag is where it's something that that happens that basically is a warning, and people oversharing, telling you too much information is one for me.
No, absolutely, and I feel a bit awkward listening to all this oversharing of information, but also I do question the person, thinking, why do you want to tell me all this information? This is a bit weird. You're being,
what have I done to what have I done to earn this or deserve this? Really, and some people share. I remember, we've obviously been married, not to each other. We've obviously been married for quite some time. Second time I've mentioned marriage, but Rob's still not taking it up. We've been married for quite some time, but obviously at one point we went on dates with people before we, and some people on dates, they really do overshare. I found they tell you so much information about their ex-boyfriend, first and second dates, and I'd be sitting there thinking, yeah, this is not going to be, this is the last time. I didn't need to know about your medical history on the second date.
A bit too much information, sort of. We would say, yes, that's a bit too much information. Thank you very much. Yeah.
But we don't often push back like that. Exactly. We go, oh, okay. We sit there, don't we? We just take it, even though it's really, really awkward. Which is when it's really uncomfortable and weird, and in fact, the other person's making it awkward. And it's. That's another thing I think that learners need to understand. We will sit there and take it quite often until the point where we feel confrontation coming.
Yeah.
And they think that's like false. It's not. It would be rude of me to go, can you stop talking about your personal life? I don't want to know. That would be really rude, or any kind of workaround. So we go, oh, okay, yeah. Oh,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
but we don't look amazingly engaged.
Mm. But as you say, we don't like to share our private information, and we do feel uncomfortable when other people are sharing their private information. We think, well,
Yeah.
private is private. You know, we don't need to know this.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
Keep yourself to yourself. That's a very good expression. Something, you know, if somebody keeps themselves to themselves, it basically means they stay a bit distant. They don't really engage socially that much. They're very private, you know. And I know people that keep themselves to themselves. And you know, oh, do you want to go out? I'm okay. You know, they'll. I mean, a negative of this would be a hermit, wouldn't it?
Mm.
But that's the extreme. So not necessarily a negative, but we use it negative.
But conversely, if somebody's really prying, trying to get so much information from you, then we could call them a nosy Parker, always trying to
nosy, yes,
sticking their nose into your business.
Yeah,
It's none
it's
of their
like,
business. Yeah.
What's happening? What's going on? It's like that horrible nose going at you. Nosy. He's so nosy. I think in general, you know, British people do keep themselves to themselves unless they feel comfortable enough with the person after quite a time of small talk, not years maybe, after small talk, and they don't want to create a fuss. I think they keep themselves to themselves, not because they're necessarily private all the time, but also because they don't want to be embarrassed for imposing on someone else. You know,
that's right.
I think we often, when we do, so for example, if I can see you're unwell and you're not, you know, in your best health or something like that, then I should ask. I should try to ask. Well, I wouldn't say, Rob, you look awful, you know, or Rob, you don't look well. What's wrong with you? Because that's an accusation. And that basically forces you to lie or get defensive or admit, you know, or, you know, I may be wrong as well. So you may have to push back. But I think in general,
you want to allow that person to reveal whatever they want to reveal without pushing it. Yeah. Let them offer the information to you without you keep prodding and poking.
Yeah. So we sort of apologize at the crowd. We all say, oh sorry, Rob. We try to be quite tactful, which is very sort of diplomatic and gentle. And we might say, oh, sorry, Rob, are you okay? Is everything all right? And then if you sort of go, well, but if there's any kind of negativity or awkward pause, I'll say, look, if anything ever is wrong, you can tell me if you want.
Yes.
I'm always there. We offer our services to listen rather than invade. And I think that's quite tactful.
Yeah,
and we're also, you know, we're quite discreet about certain things. Some people like to be discreet. In other words, quite quiet about things.
Keep it to yourself, we might say, by the way. Keep it to yourself. Mum's the word.
Keeping to private privacy, being private. I mean, in general, we avoid confrontation. That's one thing as well. That's, I think, why we control our emotions so much. So it doesn't spill out, you know, it doesn't go too far. You know, we complain about certain things, but we don't necessarily want to go to, you know, an aggressive level with somebody. And we also really try to respect a person's space.
Yes, personal space, definitely.
That's personal and emotional, I'd say, but personal space is your physical space, isn't it? And some people get too close, and I find that sometimes learners say things like, "Oh, British people are very cold." No, I just don't want to be touched. Are you a hugger?
Not really. I'm not a particularly tactile person, really. So yes, I have about that much space between no, a bit more between me
and your wife. But this is the thing. It's like, you know, people go, "Oh, you're not a hugger. You're not a hugger." No, I don't feel the need. You know, I don't think it's necessarily hugging, because hugging's lovely, you know, with the people you love and the people you care about. If I saw you, I'd probably give you a, you know, that man kind of tap hug. Look at me going up because I know you're taller than me. But of course with my wife I'll hug. But in general, I don't like being touched that much. Like, I feel it's a bit like, when people, oh, Roy, and they're tapping your shoulder.
Mm.
How do you feel about that?
No, no, just get off me.
Yeah, got them named for a reason, right?
Yeah,
But
it's almost quite
yeah,
aggressive, somebody touching you on the shoulder.
yeah.
Unless it's obviously to save you from being run over by a bus. But otherwise, I don't want to be tapped. No, no, just politely
But
ask something.
in general, I would say the rule for British privacy, in my opinion, is respect the person's physical and emotional space.
Mm,
I'm planning to do a whole lesson on an underpinning theory because this is it. Space is everything, I think, in the UK.
mm, mm.
And, that's it. We are private, we are reserved. Don't ask us about religion, sex, our weight, our beliefs, our politics. And some people really want that. What would you say to the people that really want those conversations?
Well, I think you just say,
Don't.
this isn't the time. No, well, you can have it's not to say you can't have the conversation, but if you don't want to, then you just say, I'd rather not talk about that, or should we
Yeah.
change the subject, or should
I
we
think
talk about something else, or I'd like to keep my opinion to myself.
I think a lot of students, they want to have those really deep conversations straight off. But I always say you need to build to it. It's like
Mm.
a house. You don't put the roof on before you got the walls
Yeah,
built.
yeah.
So,
Private means private. Yeah.
yeah, private means private. Oh gosh, we had a conversation. Brexit means Brexit, didn't we? Now private means private. British English culture 101, word means word. That's how
Word.
we describe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brexit means Brexit, but table also means table and private means private, Rob.
that's it.
But
So
on that note,
yeah.
thank you very much because a lot of you will have had experience dealing with British people. Let us know if you find us too private, or you've seen British people open up a little bit more. And if you do want to support this podcast, you could always buy a cup of tea for me or for Rob. But for today, I just want to say, Rob, thank you very much for joining me today. And also thank you everyone for listening to us. Thanks, Rob.
It's a pleasure. We never found out about your sex life, did we? But never mind.